the Giants have a ton of things to do. Ton of things. I know our cookie dough guy wants to talk about the press conference.
Here we go.
You it was great. I think, Buster's got a friend. They talk, as I said to Larry the other night on KMBR, Buster hired someone. They both have their parents. They talk about their fathers and their mothers. It's like they're brothers in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And Buster got the guy. And Glenn, you've said this for 2 months now. Getting the guy that Buster can work with. That's part of the crowd. And he looks like a nice guy. He looks like a nice guy that he wants to do well, and he knows all the hurdles he's got to go through and everything. Now he's signed, okay, and Buster's got his guy. They can have fun together. And now the question is, who are the coaches? That's the real question.
I think that's a huge question. And I was at the press conference. I mean, he's really sharp, and I have a lot of confidence in Buster because he's a very, very sharp guy. Posey is.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to go out on a limb like he's doing without feeling pretty confident about Vitello.
Yeah.
There's some charisma there. There's some moxie there. I think you're going to see that. And would it be so awful if the team showed a little cockiness and a little confidence on the field? And you know what? Maybe they rub some of the other teams wrong.
Yeah.
Who cares? Right? Yeah. And I think they need a little bit of that. I want to see a little bit of that. Make them fun and interesting. And I think this guy could do that. I don't think he's going to outwardly come in and say, all right, we're gonna mess with teams and we're gonna. That's not it. But there's got to be a moxie and a little charisma and a little confidence in your dugout. And I think this guy could bring that to this team. I do.
Yeah, I think so. I think he does, and I think it's fun. He's got a good attitude, and Buster said something I've said for years: stop this fraternizing before the game. I want Frank Robinson back. I want you. don't do that. You don't shake hands. Adamas throws a party for everyone who gets to base.
See, Buster Posey should have known that. That's who Adamas is. So if he was wanting to be more of a gritty team, he does. Look, that's not exactly the guy
anymore. So I like it. As I said, it gives Buster a contemporary. It's not Bochy. It's not Bob Melvin. It's not Felipe. It's not Dusty. It's someone in his group that he can relate to and have fun with. And like I say, they have families, whatever. They can get to know each other. So I like it.
How about this?
Now you got to win. That's the whole thing.
And here's the thing. John Shea had an article come out today. I don't know if you guys saw it. Talked to Greg Johnson. Sounds like they, Buster Posey talked about it. It is the end of season presser talking about pitching. Well, it sounds like they're not going to spend a whole lot of money on pitching because John Shea asked him, are you willing to spend $100 million plus on a starting pitcher? And he pretty much said, no, we really don't want to do that. So it makes me wonder, how the Giants are going to navigate this offseason, because if you want to concentrate on starting pitching, either it's going to be a big trade involving maybe one Bryce Eldridge, or, the guys that you need to get is going to cost you more than $100 million. So it's going to be interesting how Buster Posey puts a team together so that Tony Vitello can have the better success. Because otherwise, it's, you don't want to put everything on Tony Vitello's leadership, which is important. I'm not saying it's not important. But if you're putting everything on Vitello to sit there and say, hey, make our team better, without getting said good players, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make a prediction here, you guys. I think that they will make a very significant trade, because there's some starting pitchers that you can get
under control. Yeah.
There's circumstances. Sonny Gray's got 1 year left on his contract. It's a lot of money, but it's 1 year. Sonny Gray's still a very good pitcher. The Cardinals, they don't want to pay him $28, $29, $30 million a year. But my point is, it's 1 year. It's not like some 4-year deal that you're picking up. I think the Cardinals, if you said, yeah, we'll pay that contract for 1 year, I think the Cardinals would almost give them to you. Guys, I'm just saying, I think that that they'll make at least one fairly significant trade. And I think they'll dabble in that free agent market, but it's got to be, it's got to be the right guy. And is there a right guy out there? Is Framber Valdez the guy you want for $150 million? Who knows, right?
You've got to develop pitching. And they had a lot of pitchers that they could have developed and sort of fell apart. Now they got to go back to the drawing board for this. But they need the young guy. They need an infusion of young talent. The Dakota Jordans, or the guys in the minor leagues who we hear about all the time. They've got to work their way up and become a factor now and play ball the way he likes to play ball and go first to third and hit the ball, put it in play, and do all the things that he likes to do. So let's see what happens. The ball's in Buster's court. I think it's more than a 1-year deal to get him up to speed. I think it's going to take him a year to figure out the major league game and how it works. And a lot of it depends on the coaches. It really does. Because, the leadership, his hands are full. He's got to deal with the media. He's got to deal with you and me. Come on. He's got to answer our questions all the time. And he's got to run a ball game and answer things after the game. And the coaches are the ones who will really have more of the direct contact with the players implementing his ideas.
Yeah, I think they will spend a lot of time on choosing this coaching staff because they know how important it's going to be, and that's a good thing. And no, I don't.
Do you have any predictions on anything? Do you have any predictions?
No, I don't. I've sniffed around a little bit, Marty, but I know that what is it? What's the guy's name? Tingler.
Chase Tingler. They're friends. Right?
They're friends, but he was a manager. He managed the Padres for a couple of years.
Yeah.
He was the bench coach for Minnesota, correct?
Somewhere.
He's with the Twins now. Yeah. But I think that's the kind of guy, like somebody who's managed, but still somebody who's I don't want to say younger, but I guess maybe that's it because I think that's what they would like. But I don't think they're adverse to maybe somebody that's been around a long time and has a lot of moxie in the dugout and that type of thing. But the staff is going to be very important. And listen, they're very well aware of that. And I think that they're going to take their time and put this staff together and give Vitello the best chance to succeed. But Marty's right. He's got a lot to learn. He knows that. He's not coming in here making some bravado statements about how we're going to win it all. He knows it. He's smart. He's a hard worker, and he'll get after it. And I think when it's all said and done, I think this will be very successful. I really do.
He seems like a decent guy. See, that's part of it. As Woe has always told me, he says, look, show me the man first, then the player.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And what I see in the man, I like him. I like the way he talks. I like the way he answers questions. I like the way he makes eye contact. He obviously learned some Giants history that he threw out there, made everyone feel better. I think he's got all those characteristics. Now it's a question of turning it into a major league manager, which after watching this for a month, Schneider age about 50 years, watching him in the dugout and Dave Roberts and everyone else and Pat Murphy and this whole Aaron Boone and everything. This is a tough job running a ball club. This is not a piece of cake.
And what's funny?
Down to the winning of the World Series.
Yeah, really. Everything you're saying, Marty, is about what happens on the field. Mm-hmm. But you also have to keep the clubhouse. You got to keep an eye on the clubhouse without overdoing it, right? And I think the Giants got pretty good help with their players. They have a really good leadership with Chapman and Adames and Webb. Those three guys are the go-to guys. And you need to have that in a clubhouse. Let those guys handle it, but keep a close eye on it. And I think that's really important in a big league clubhouse.
Yeah. And it's also, talking after the game, if a guy screws up during the game, and there's an artful way of explaining that someone made a mistake or didn't do it the way, you want to do it without, as they say, throwing the guy under the bus. So, you got to learn how to do that. He's got a million things to learn. You could do 10 shows on, he's got to deal with players from all over the world. At Tennessee,
Yes.
I don't think he spent a lot of time going to San Pedro de Macorís to recruit kids to go to Tennessee. Right. So he's got a room full of people that he has to get to know their culture and how they play and what makes them tick. There's a lot to do, but I'll go back to this. The core guy is a guy who wants to succeed and looks like a guy who's respectful and understands that what he doesn't know and wants to get to know people and do it right and be a good major league manager. The other thing I saw about this on Wikipedia, he was a big soccer champion. His father was a soccer coach and a baseball coach. They won state championships. He was on a state championship soccer team. He's been a competitive kid. He's like one of these kids probably his whole life. He's been competing. And there's that, there's that heart that you bring to the game, which is cool, which is good. I like that.
You know who his family was really tight with growing up? And this guy was really tight with his family in high school and played for his dad, was Billy Miller.
He talked about that.
Yeah.
Bill Miller.
Yeah. And I know Billy pretty well, but we've learned more about it where, the dad was Billy's coach in high school, but Billy was very tight with the whole family, and it was kind of a fun, sidebar story.
Billy's
great. Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah,
what a great player and great guy. He and Sean Estes came up together. I got to know them together.
Yep.
When they first came up. I've known them 30 years. By now. What was Tony Vitello's connection to Salinas? I didn't quite understand.
He played and coached for them.
For who?
Yeah, it was a wooden
Salinas. What are they called?
Packers. I think.
Was that a professional baseball team?
No, I think it was help me out.
Independent.
I think it was independent. Summer college baseball.
Got it.
Wooden bat league, I think.
Got it. Okay.
I think at one time they were affiliated with the Chicago White Sox way back in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. I was just looking on Wikipedia.
Let's end this, and I got a good one for you guys. Speaking of relationships. So you know how we've been reading about Vitello, right? And all the people kind of in his life. And the name Tim Jameson has come up a lot, right? Tim Jameson was the head baseball coach at the University of Missouri, where Vitello played, but then also coached under Tim Jameson for a long, long time. And then he went to Arkansas, I think, and then he went to Tennessee. Yeah. So Tim Jameson is a very, very well-known, well-respected college baseball coach at the University of Missouri. Tim Jameson was an assistant coach with me as a player at the University of New Orleans for 2 years.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
He went to the University of New Orleans, Tim Jameson did, and he played there. And then right when he was done playing, he was finishing college, I believe. And so he was a graduate assistant at the University of New Orleans. That's where I went for 2 years to play baseball. And gosh, we used to play pickup basketball games with Timmy Jameson. And we used to, and I was like, wait a minute.
That's incredible.
He's my coach in 1984 and 1985. And now I remember he did go to the University of Missouri and he became a pretty big deal. And so that was Vitello's college coach. It was also my college coach, but I'm much older than Vitello. So when I get a chance to that to him.
You know what it shows us? We've been around a while.
Yeah.
Which is good. In baseball, it's good because you see a lot and it helps you evaluate players and situations. Baseball needs that kind of evaluation and people who are evaluators like that.